Welcome to my channel, viewers. Almost every day we come across the news of fraudsters stealing millions. In other words, we are informed that Australia is being robbed, not by people with guns, but by fraudsters. Organized crimes and systematic waste. I have tried to put all these major figures together and realized that it cost us between 105 to 120 billion dollars almost every year. This isn't a conspiracy theory, it's documented by ATO and AFP and official government audits. This video exposes how this silent haste is happening in our NDIS, aged care infrastructure projects, and tech systems. But there is a solution. We outline a bold plan to recover this money and use it to fund a $50,000 home down deposit for young Australians getting married and a $50,000 retirement top up for seniors with less than half a million savings through a permanent sovereign wealth fund to pay for hospitals and also to pay for schools, the leftover amounts. This is about Australia's silent heist, and I will share with you how I reached to this staggering figure of 105 to 120 billion dollar. Australia's hidden drain, corruption and fraud across sectors, billion lost annually across health, education, welfare, infrastructure and taxation system. Silent exploitations by fraudsters harm honest taxpayers and weakens public trust. This presentation exposes the key sectors bleeding taxpayer funds and who is benefiting. Australia is a prosperous nation, but behind the scene, billions of taxpayers' dollars vanish every year due to fraud, corruption, and systemic loopholes cleverly cheated and manipulated by fraudsters with wily precision. From NDIS scams to dodgy aged care operators, from fake students' documents to multi million dollar projects blowout, the losses are staggering. It is as if a silent war has been waged against the Australian people. It's not a war with soldiers or tanks, but one of fraud, corruption, and sheer greed. A war that is costing us not just billions of dollars, but our trust, our services, and our future. And we are going to expose these details. But this isn't just a story of outrage, it's also a story of a hope, a concrete visionary plan to not just stop the bleeding, but to heal the wounds and build a stronger Australia for everyone who plays by the rules. NDIS fraud, a broken support system, estimated $1.4 billion fraudulent NDIS claims, according to ABC in 2023. Fake invoices, ghost services, and price gouging by unscrupulous providers. Organized crime, infiltration, disability sector, that is none other by Australian Federal Police 2023. NDIS Minister Bill Shorten labeled fraud as industrial scale exploitation. This isn't just fraud, it's a profound moral failure. The NDIS was built as a lifeline for our most vulnerable, but criminal syndicates and unscrupulous providers have turned it into a personal ATM. But as I mentioned earlier, they are clever and wily, know how to cheat to an extent that even our justice system is willing to let them go, either for saying sorry or for paying as little as around 10% of what they have stolen. We are talking about fake invoices for services never rendered, stealing personal details of the vulnerables to sell in the black market, claiming against ghost clients that don't exist, and blatant price gouging. The Australian Federal Police confirmed organized crime is deeply involved. This is a double betrayal. It steals from taxpayers and it literally steals support from people with disabilities who desperately needs it. When Minister Bill Shorten calls this industrial scale, he is not exaggerating. This is organized theft exploiting our collective compassion. Aged care. Underpayment of aged care workers and overcharging government. Home care services claim for work not done or delivered below standards. Elder abuse cases rise despite full billing by Royal Commission in 2021. $27 million repaid after audits. Aged Care Quality and Safety Commission 2023. If the aged care and NDIS fraud is a betrayal, this is a national disgrace. Our elderly who built this country are being abused in a system meant to care for them. The Royal Commission uncovered a culture of neglect and violence, yet providers were still billing in full. We see workers being underpaid while the companies overcharge the government. It's a squeeze play where everyone loses except the corrupt operators. The $27 million repaid is just the tip of iceberg. This is about more than money. It's about human dignity. We are failing our seniors, our parents, our grandparents, and those who have come in this life or during their life in this world become disabled. It is utterly shameful. RTO's student visa loopholes, dodgy private colleges exploiting international students for profit, fake qualifications issued, minimal classes delivered, visa mills threaten integrity of vet and migration system by Texas 2024. Billions in skills funding misspent or siphoned off. New South Wales Auditor General. And none other than our own Prime Minister mentioned 180 RTOs closed down, Dodgy operators, providing the certificates which are on skills shorten lists. And untrained staff is being sent to these very sensitive industries. Our world class education system is being hijacked by visa mills, dodgy colleges that are a front for migration, fraud, not education. They sell qualification, not learning. International students arrive with dreams only to find a sham operations with minimal classes. And some know knowingly where they are coming. That's even worse. Forcing them to work, those who come, they work cash in hand in the black economy. This undermines our genuine universities, exploits vulnerable young peoples, and clogs our migration systems. Billions in government skills funding is siphoned off by these operators. It devalues our qualifications and hurts genuine students and honest training providers who are trying to do the right things. Texas has flags the integrity of Australia's vocational education and training or VET sector and migration system as threatened due to exploitation of loophole by third party recruitments, vulnerabilities, and non genuine overseas students, posing risks to the reputation and quality of the sector. Specifically flagged are academic cheating services, non genuine overseas students, exploitation of vulnerabilities, misuse of education sector, challenges in the third party recruitment, both onshore and offshore, and last but not the least, generative artificial intelligence. The increasing use of generative artificial intelligence presents new challenges to assessment practices and the assurance of student skills, potentially impacting the integrity of awards. Cash in hand economy and Centerlink fraud. 25 to 35 billion dollars during 2012 And $50 billion in 2016 was the continuous black economy, according to ATO. And if we extrapolate that I did, the current estimate is that at the present it is around $70 billion. Public housing, residents renting properties while claiming benefits. Centrelink recipients working off the book, double dipping. Fraudulent claims across job seekers, disability, and parenting payments. This is the fraud that hits closest to home for many. It's a two-way street. On one side, a massive black economy where business and workers deal in cash to evade tax, undermining every honest business that plays by the rule. On the other hand, individuals double dipping, working for cash while claiming welfare benefits. We even have public housing tenants secretly renting out their government subsidized homes. This isn't a victimless crime. It means higher taxes for the honest and fewer services for those who genuinely need them. It erodes the fundamental social contract that holds our society together. I did some extrapolation on the current size of black economy I just mentioned. Here it is. Back in 2016, government task force estimated the shadow economy could be as large as 3% of GDP. At the time, that was about $50 billion. Adjusted for today's, that figure would be closer to 60 to $80 billion. But here's the crucial update. The ATO doesn't just guess the size, it measures the tax gap. The tax that is lost from this shadow economy. In 2017, the tax gap from the shadow economy was 3.8%. By 2022, it had ballooned to 5.3%. This isn't just a small increase, it's a 40% jump in lost tax revenue in just 5 years. This trend strongly suggests the shadow economy itself is growing significantly. While the ATO is careful, sorry, about putting a single precise dollar figure on something inherently hidden, if we apply that old 3% of GDP estimate to Australia's current GDP of approximately $2.2 trillion, we are looking at a shadow economy that could realistically be worth around 66 to 68 billion dollars. And this is the most conservative that we can. The higher up would be much, much higher. This isn't victimless crime. The 66 billion or 68 billion dollars is untaxed underground activity directly reducing the funds available for our essential services, for our hospitals, our schools, our roads, and for disaster recovery. It's a multi-billion dollar hole in the national budget that every honest Australian taxpayer is forced to fill. Infrastructure blowout, the Snowy Hydro case, and couple of more. From Snowy Hydro to West Connex to the abandoned Melbourne Airport rail, we see a predictable pattern: chronic underestimation, mismanagement, and a complete lack of accountability. Projects are announced with fanfare and a lowball price tag to win votes, then cost balloons by billions due to poor planning and contractors' failures. Who pays? You do, we do, the taxpayers. And who wins? The large consultancies and construction firms that face no consequences for these blowouts. These aren't just numbers on the screen. Why is why? This is why your train and other public transport infrastructure is not getting modernized and is overcrowded. Your highway is getting clogged and your taxes are getting higher. I provide you with two case studies: Sydney and Melbourne projects. Sydney's West Connex Toll Road Network budget in 2012 was $10 billion. It raised to $21 billion plus by 2024. The cost of 110% plus blowout, Critics cite forced acquisition. Melbourne's airport rail link stall. Original budget in 2018 was 8 to 10 billion, costing sheer and design issues. It is still inactive, no more active, and said to be $6 to $7 billion funding dispute between the state and federal government over an above ground versus underground station. The cost billions in wasted planning, sunk costs, and lost economic productivity. A vital infrastructure project for a growing city is now shelved indefinitely due to political issues, lack of accountability. No one is held responsible for colossal failures. The winners, consultancy firms, construction giants, and lawyers. The losers, we, the Australian taxpayers and commuters. Political donation and cronyism. 160 million in political donation, mostly undisclosed, according to Gretton Institute 2024. Contracts awarded to donor linked firms, conflict of interest, Gretton Institute. Again, who is in the room? Study 2022. 2018 secret audio of one nation seeking funds from US gun lobby. ABC, March 25, 2019, and Al Jazeera, 2019. This is where the cycle of corruption begins. Millions in secret donations flow to political parties, and suddenly government contracts are awarded to donor linked companies without proper tender processing. It's legalized corruption. We have seen politicians caught on tape secretly seeking funds from foreign lobbyists. This cronyism means contracts are awarded based on who you know, not what you can deliver. It results in poorer service, higher costs, and a deep, well funded public cynicism. When our politicians are beholden to secret donors, they are no longer upholding us, the people they are meant to serve. Cybercrimes and international syndicates. $10 billion annual cost of cybercrimes to Australian, according to ACSC 2023. Phone and crypto scams traced to offshore call centers to India. 60 Minutes Australia exposed scam factories in Mumbai and Delhi targeting elderly Aussies in 2024. Weak tracking of digital funds transfers and identity thefts growing. I have tried to put this in a tabular format. I'll be sharing it with you, but let me first explain it to you. A conservative estimate of annual losses is between 106 to 120 billion loss annually. NDIS frauds about 1.45 to 2.5 billion according to ABC and AFP. Age care frauds and waste approximately $2 billion. Um, Vocational training RTOs between 3 to $5 billion. Black economy and tax fraud between 60 to $70 billion. Cyber crime losses $10 billion plus. Infrastructure waste blowout about $27 billion. Political cronyism and procurement waste about $5 billion. In tabular format, NDIS, the same explained what is the annual losses and key reasons and source of information is provided in front of you. I will just explain. Let me explain. Total black economy figures fall between 105 to 120 billion. This is conservative analysis of reported waste and fraud shows we are losing over $100 billion every single year. That's not a political opinion. These figures come from the ATO, the AFP, and the Cybersecurity Center and the Gretton Institute, all respectable sources. Let's break it down. 60 to 70 billion vanishes into the black economy and tax frauds. 25 billion is wasted on infrastructure blowouts from poor planning. Billions more stolen from NDIS, aged care, vocational training by organized crimes. Another 10 billion lost to cybercrime. This isn't just government waste, this is a direct theft from every single Australian taxpayer. It's money that should be building our hospitals, funding our schools, and securing our future. Now imagine if we could plug these leaks, all we need is political will. Even if we only recovered half of this amount, $50 billion a year, we could radically change this country. We wouldn't have to spend directly. We could take that 50 billion and seed a permanent Australian endowment fund. After just 4 years, it would be more than $200 billion. And if we could recover fully, it would be $400 billion. Managed properly, it could generate between 10 to 20 billion a year in return forever. I recently went to Singapore, rather a couple of years back, and I was informed that every couple, young couple that get married is given $100,000 as a down payment marriage gift to be given to the bank as down deposit for the apartment of their choice they want to buy. Why cannot we do the same? If it can happen in Singapore for the last 10, 15 years, we can sure start it within the next couple of years in Australia. This 10 to 20 billion annual return could then be used to provide 50 billion down payment grant for hundreds of thousands of young Australians trying to buy their first home. Top up the retirement saving of seniors who have worked their whole life, paying for 20 years almost or more in tax as a retirement plan. Struggling and having a saving with less than 500 billion in their super, all without ever touching the initial 200 to 400 billion capital. The money is there. The question isn't about affordability, it's about priority and political courage. Do we continue to tolerate this colossal waste and fraud and keep on pardoning for just saying sorry? Or should we start trying to take our money back with an option, either return in full or get deported? Maybe we start with a proposal that legislation approves that anyone cheating or involved in a fraud of, say, 20,000 or above, or whatever amount, must be fined equivalent amount by courts, not letting them go for saying sorry or fining up to 1 million for committing a crime worth 10 of million dollars. The solution, a national anti-fraud and recovery task force, data matching power, real-time integration of ATO, Centrelink, Home Affairs, and ASIC data to flag discrepancies. Whistleblowers rewards a mandatory percentage, say for instance 10%. Let the legislation decide. Of all recovered fund is paid to whistleblower who provide key evidence. This incentives insiders to speak up. Military grade cyber forensic to track and seize assets from assets from international syndicates and money launderers. The Australian Future Fund, from loss to legacy, investing recovered billions into Australian people. The Home Starter Grant, these are the just explanations of what I have just summarized earlier, my plan. I'm not going to take your time into the details, but I'm going to slide them one by one slowly. So when you are watching, if you are interested, just pause and look at them. The Australian Future Fund, from loss to legacy. Investing recovered billions into Australia's people, ensuring a fair go for all, inclusive migration and settlement that will be looked into. References one by one. There are few slides of all these references I consulted to present this slides, this vlog. Um, Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for the next episode. Till then, look after yourself, stay healthy. Long live Australia.